Mike in the front right here. Before we get into fight talk or in your career, how's the Ultimate Fighter been coaching these young guys?
Oh man, the Ultimate Fighter has been so much different than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to show up, feet were going to land down here in the desert. I was going to put a couple random people through some workouts, do some fights, win, lose or draw. I don't really care. I just want to be here and get in Connor's face and show him that I'm better than him in every sense of the word. Turns out I fell in love with these dudes. Their passion, me even being a coach, like I don't think I will never be a coach after mixed martial arts is over. I don't think that's the career path that I'm going to take ever. But in this microcosm, it's been an absolute blast. I'm so much more emotionally and spiritually invested in these guys' success. I wanted to come here to beat Connor. Turns out I want my guys to win more than I want to beat Connor. So that's how much it's been. It's been a lot more work than I thought it was going to, and we aren't even done yet. So
When did that switch in your minds where to go from you're here to get in Connor's face to I have a group of young kids that I have to get to get them to fulfill their dreams?
honestly, the crazy thing was, we got here, did some. I mean, I was here for like 2 days and did some photo shoots and did some little hoopla show opening stuff, and then all of a sudden, this group of people were in front of me and Dana and Connor, and then all of a sudden I had my team, and I had a team with my name on the back of the jersey, and what it meant to me to have my name on the back of all those athletes' jerseys and their future in my hands. I mean, as soon as I met them, and then we went through our first workout, and then started hearing all their stories, their backgrounds, where they have been, their ups, their downs, their wins, their losses, their families. They're just like me, there's not a lot of difference between all of us fighters. And I didn't come here to be this dictator. I didn't come here to be this big time coach. I came here to be their friend, their mentor, their big brother, the shoulder to cry on, and the guy who's going to make them believe in themselves. So it was from the very beginning, and Team Chandler's performances have showed it thus far.
Well, without getting too specific, because I know you can't give away spoilers, how has it been being around Conor McGregor these past few weeks?
It's always fun and cordial until it isn't. It's always copacetic until we hit the boiling point. Connor and I are natural born competitors. As I said, I came here to prove that I'm better than him in every sense of the word, in every single aspect of competition, not just us fighting later this year, but in this competition of the Ultimate Fighter. Connor and I have a lot of mutual respect. A lot of mutual respect for each other. He, even in his awesome, brash, trash talk, behind all of that stuff, he's got a lot of respect for the sport, for the purity of mixed martial arts, the purity of martial arts, and all of its competitors. Connor and I have a lot of mutual respect for one another. But ultimately, I don't know if we like each other as much as we thought we were going to. And the good thing is we get to settle it with 4-ounce gloves under a certain rule set in a contest later on this year, and I can't wait to do it.
To go off of that, when they announced this fight, there was no date, there wasn't a weight class announced. So, like, do you have any info you can give us in terms of all that?
No info yet. I'm looking for info. But I don't. At this point, I don't think it's going to be at 155. Connor's expressed it's going to be at 170. I would love it at 170. I'll fight him at 185. I'll fight him at whatever weight class we want to fight. I could care less. I just want to fight the man. It would make a lot of sense from the airing of the show ending in August for us to fight sometime in September, October, sometime this fall. I haven't heard an actual date, but I'm planning to be ready by August, September, October, whenever.
And final one for me, Connor said that obviously he thinks he'll slice through you, I think was his exact phrasing. He told Oscar for the Mac Life. So what's your prediction of how this fight eventually plays out?
No, that's great. We that's exactly who we want. The biggest combat sports star and icon that we have ever seen, thinking he's going to come back and slice through somebody. That's exactly what we want. That gains intrigue. It builds the momentum. It builds the mystique of who he is and us putting butts in seats. That's exactly what we want. I can tell you this, it's definitely not going to happen. I can tell you this, I see it going a much different way. I think I've seen enough of Conor over the last couple weeks to know that I am going to not just slice through him, but bludgeon him with both of these hands and do whatever I want, both standing or on the ground, and finish him by the second round. That's my Mystic Mike prediction, and I stand behind it.
Mike, you said you came here to get in Conor's face, and you put a picture up on your Instagram the other day of the two of you seemingly in each other's faces. Has there been a few tense moments?
There has been, yeah. I mean, it's always fun too. I mean, you got to remember too, aside from what we're going to see on ESPN later this summer, we show up to a production crew. We show up to itineraries. We show up to, hey, you're doing this, you're picking teams, you're doing all this kind of stuff. Connor's getting his footing, I'm getting my footing. We're not really that worried about each other. We're here to do our job and figure out how we're going to coach these guys. Mutual respect. Hey, I'm not worried about you. I'm going to try to figure this out. I'm going to pour into my guys. He's pouring into his guys. Then all of a sudden we get our footing under us and realize, okay, now it's time to go after that guy, the guy that I can't wait to beat up later this year, the guy that I can't wait to compete against, the guy that I can't wait to go out there and prove myself against. And I think, yes, what has happened thus far has been a lot of fun, and I can't wait for you all to see it later on this year on ESPN. My guys winning and losing fights, his guys winning and losing fights, us being emotionally invested in the wins and losses of our fighters, ultimately spilling over into our own emotional turmoil, for better or worse, and enjoying the process. So it's been a lot of fun, yes. A lot of tension.
A lot was made of like, are you going to get the nice Conor, or are you going to get the nasty Conor? From your perspective, which Conor have you received?
Conor, I think I made my prediction correctly when I see a guy in Conor who is so good at looking at the Venn diagram of good guy, bad guy, and guy in between who doesn't quite know when he's going to be crazy mean, crazy witty, crazy nice, crazy respectful, only crazy respectful just to set you up to lower your guard just so he can spit you with some venom the next day. Conor on Monday is different than Conor on Tuesday, who's different than Conor on Wednesday, and I freaking love it. I absolutely love it. I came in with my arms open, my hands open, saying I have no idea what to expect here. I'm just trying to be authentically myself and let the chips fall where they may, because you never know, you never quite know what's going to happen. And also with me and my team and his team, you can't make a plan because your plans are going to get spoiled on this show, because there's all kinds of crazy stuff getting pulled out of the hat at all different times. But Conor's been both sides of the coin, to say the least.
Hey, Michael, back here. Michael, I'm just wondering, I'm assuming you've been out there in the arena. Is it a little awkward to watch Conor McGregor's whole movie play out? And do you plan to watch Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal?
I actually haven't been out there yet. I was actually going to go meet those guys because I know they're going to film this scene again. I flew down to the Dominican Republic and did a scene with Jake 2 weeks before the last fight as well. So I'm friends with him and one of the stunt coordinators, Steve Brown, who I actually wrestled at the same time with in college. He wrestled at Central Michigan. But yeah, I mean, I think the remake of Roadhouse is one of the awesome kind of movies here in the United States. Huge cult following. Jake Gyllenhaal, admittedly is one of my favorite actors of all time, even before I got to meet him and realize that the man that Jake Gyllenhaal is, aside from being an A-list celebrity, is actually really cool and really normal. So, it'll be interesting to see Conor on the silver screen, on the bright lights of Hollywood. That's what I said too before this fight got announced. It's bad enough we had to compete with the Bentleys and Bugattis and Lamborghini yachts, and now we have to compete with the bright lights of Hollywood when he was filming Roadhouse. But he came back. He agreed to the Ultimate Fighter. He has agreed to fight me. He and I are building something beautiful here, and I can't wait to go out there and give you guys an awesome show.
Now, we are in Las Vegas. I want to put some money down. How much should I bet that Kill Cliff will actually stay the name of your team and gym?
I don't know. At this point, we're just known as the Big Gym in South Florida. That big gym. I have no idea, aside, with the business dealings behind the scenes. I know the group of men that I train with, the group of coaches and training partners, plus the facility that we have in South Florida, Deerfield Beach, Florida, is second to none. Generaled by Henry Hooft, what he has built there. My manager as well, Dave Martin, has we've built something absolutely awesome, and our wins speak for themselves. So I will continue to represent them, but as of right now, we're pretty much known as that big gym in South Florida.
Mike, over here.
Yep.
So at the top of your division, obviously we have Islam Makhachev. I know that's a fight down the line. You're probably eyeing. Just how do you look at that fight stylistically? Because I think with your style, with your striking and your wrestling, it's very interesting.
Don't you do it, man. This is what always happens. You guys ask me to talk about Islam, and then all of a sudden the headline is, "Oh, Chandler thinks he can beat Islam." When I'm over here.
I know.
Future. I know. But this is what always happens. No, I mean, I have a ton of respect for Islam. As I have said in previous interviews, Islam running through Charles and then beating Volkanovski. I picked Volkanovski to win. I did. Once again, I have been proven wrong. Once again, my foot is in my mouth. So I think Islam is blossoming into, at the right time, the champion that he is and will be and who we thought he could be. We weren't quite sure. I think we put the cart before the horse when it came to Islam Makhachev. I stand behind that. But now, at this point, at this juncture, I think he has proven himself to be the guy. Ultimately, I think all of us think we can beat anybody on any given night. I think you put me in a octagon anywhere around the world against Islam, I think my chances are pretty darn good. But ultimately, he's proven himself thus far. He's our champion for a reason. I'm going to go out there, smash Conor, get my hand raised, and then maybe fight him later on.
Should he be at number one on the pound-for-pound list? Because obviously Volkanovski was in that spot.
I don't know about that. I don't think you beat a guy a weight class below you and then go above him. I mean, a win is a win unless it's a different weight class, ultimately, So Volkanovski, in my mind, the guy who has cleared out his division only to go up a weight class to take a chance to possibly capture the double champ status, shouldn't lose his number one pound for pound spot by losing to a guy who's, 10, 15 pounds heavier than him.
Just last one for me. Speaking of weight classes, has it been confirmed that you and Conor are going to fight at lightweight or welterweight? And what's a possible date for that fight too? What are you kind of hearing? Can you give us some insight?
He's talking about 185. We'll see. He was talking about 185, and I called his bluff. I think he doesn't think I'm as heavy and as dense as I actually am. I'm sitting here at 191 pounds. So I'll fight a 185. I'll fight a 170. If Dana steps in, and I've heard him talk about 155, if Dana steps in and gets his way, possibly it's 155. I could care less. I'm a guy who showed up in the UFC in September of 2020 with my work boots on, and I've said yes to every single opportunity. I've said yes at every single step of the way. They want to do it at 170. I think that's a nice little sweet spot. And as I've said too, this show ends in August. So it would make a lot of sense for us to fight in September. I hope it's in September, and I think this fight is too big to do T-Mobile Arena. I think we sell out Allegiant Stadium or Dallas Cowboys Stadium.
Mike, one more quick one. Eddie Alvarez gave an interview this week, and he said he tried to make that trilogy fight 3 times, and it's not on him. And he says it's just you don't want to fight him. So can you clarify what Eddie means by that?
Yeah, no, I will be candid and say, yes, there was a moment where my Bellator contract was going to end. Tito Ortiz was fighting Chuck Liddell or something under Oscar De La Hoya's something. I don't even know if that fight ever happened. There was a moment there where we talked about, hey, we can go ahead and take matters into our own hand. I can bounce out. You can bounce out. Let's fight each other, do a trilogy. That was the only time that there was any kind of contract talks happening. Obviously, as fate would have it, I re-signed with Bellator, fought out my contract, and now everything has worked out perfectly. So sometimes, these fighters want to take their it was just a conversation. It wasn't my idea. You can try to act like you're the master of your own destiny, but it's only going to be to your own detriment in a lot of ways. But good thing for Eddie, I want to see him fight bare knuckle. My wife and I were talking about that. We've watched a couple bare knuckles. We kind of enjoy it, honestly. But I don't want to see Eddie Alvarez getting punched bare knuckle. But I don't think that trilogy will ever happen. My fault, his fault, don't matter. We'll see.
Iron Mike.
Yes.
As of right now, Conor McGregor still not in the USADA pool. You want to fight in September or October, but how long are you willing to wait?
Yeah, no, that's a good question because I actually just asked my management today to start putting pressure and figure out. Right now, we're at March 3rd or 4th. If we want to fight in September, he's got to hop in the pool. That's just the simple fact of the matter. So, we will see. I could care less, man. I don't care what he weighs, what he's doing, how long he's in the USADA pool. It does not matter to me. It's another man with 2 arms and 2 legs, and I've been doing this for over a decade. So I'm excited to go out there and compete against him. But yeah, ultimately, rules is rules, and we got to figure out how to get around the red tape and get him in the pool and get him tested and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see.
Michael?
Yes.
Bo Nickel makes his debut in about an hour, and as a credentialed college wrestler yourself, man, I just wanted your thoughts on Bo Nickel and how far he can go in this sport.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 thoughts. I think Bo Nickel has an exponential opportunity and exponential growth and exponential potential in this sport. I think Bo can do awesome things. I think Bo will do awesome things. I think Bo has the people behind him, the people around him. He knows how to train. He's got the talent. And obviously, at this point, he hasn't been very shy on the microphone. Now, that would be the second thing I would say. I think it's a little bit unbecoming to come into the UFC off the Contender Series and start talking about Khamzat Chimaev and fighting John Jones or whoever he's freaking fighting. You know, at some point, you got to just play the game as well. You got to grow, but grow at the right rate. People see what Conor did getting on the microphone. People see what these other people have done. I think Bo's getting a little bit too talky for the average fan's liking. If it were me and I were his manager, I'd say, hey, let's keep our nose to the grindstone. Let's knock them down when they put them in front of us. Let's talk about realistic matchups, but don't talk about Khamzat Chimaev, your first fight in the UFC, basically.
Are you excited? Are you excited?
But I do love his willingness to say those things because it gets us all talking. Here I am at a press conference talking about him, right? So it's a good thing. But ultimately, to the average fan, they're like, wait a second, dude, we don't even know who you are yet. Why are you talking about Khamzat? You know?
Are you excited just to see the comeback of American wrestling with all the Dagestani wrestling has taken over, but now American wrestling is coming back?
Absolutely, man. Good old-fashioned, passionate American wrestling, man. I wouldn't be sitting up here today talking to y'all if I wasn't a wrestler here in the United States, the greatest country on the planet, and then wrestling at the University of Missouri. There's no doubt in my mind I wouldn't be here if I hadn't have done that. So there's a pathway for amateur collegiate wrestlers to come into the sport of mixed martial arts. There is now so many management groups who realize the potential of amateur wrestlers, college wrestlers, and we can come in here and we can keep on stacking up wins because that's what we do. I think it's the best base to have. Call it a martial art, call it combat sports, call it what you want, but it's the best base that you will ever have. So parents, get your kids in wrestling, and we're gonna have a lot more UFC champions.
Michael, real quick, you mentioned Allegiant earlier. Is that something you've talked to the UFC about, or is that just something that's a pipe dream for you that you want to have?
There's been not talks, but there's been mentions of it. I think when you talk about, you're never doing a stadium if it isn't Conor McGregor right now, as the landscape looks, right? And then you look at a guy who can come in and build the intrigue, put butts in seats, make people feel something. Name a guy who's got more momentum in the entire UFC than me. And now we're doing The Ultimate Fighter, 12 episodes over the entire summer to build the intrigue, to build the animosity, to build this rivalry. And it's genuine. You guys know me. I'm a pretty nice, even keel guy. I don't really like Conor McGregor that much, it turns out. So got a ton of respect for him, but he and I don't think see eye to eye in a lot of ways. And that's a lot of competitive chirp. But ultimately, yeah, I passed Allegiant Stadium today, and I told my wife, I said, hey, we should fight there. There's no reason we should be fighting in T-Mobile Arena because we have the ability and the capacity to do that. T-Mobile Arena, Dallas Cowboys Stadium, one of the biggest shows in mixed martial arts history. I think it happens. Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler.